Welcome to People in the Know. I'm Margi Kyle, and this week we have a very special guest. Our person of the week is Curt Beeman. Welcome, Curt. You are a retired analytical chemist. It's so far from what I've ever done in my life. Unfortunately, you lost your wife several years ago to FTD, and we've heard a lot about that through Bruce Willis's illness. Can you tell us what it stands for and some of the symptoms?
It stands for frontotemporal degeneration. Some people now are referring to it as dementia, so frontotemporal dementia.
Okay.
It is a pernicious form of dementia that is not too well known, and in the public eye, recent references to Bruce Willis and Robin Williams at least has brought it to the public awareness in some respect. There is no definitive diagnosis at this point in time. There is no cure at this point in time.
Right.
And there's not really much in the way of ameliorative therapies, drugs, or any external ministrations to the patient that really soothes the symptoms or makes it easier to get along with. That presents a big problem for those who are caregivers to the
Yes.
patient, family members, even professional medical people. I would hazard a guess that in the local area, Charlotte area, more than half of the practicing neurologists are not really familiar with the disease.
And that makes it very hard for a caretaker and a
Uh,
patient.
Very definitely. And what's even more difficult is that with a diagnosis, let's say, of FTD, each patient expresses that differently. And so an individual caregiver may get some information about how to deal with FTD and it not have any successful effects in dealing with their loved one. So
Yeah.
it is an extreme stressful situation for caregivers as well as the patient. The caregiver not only has to take care of the patient, but if they're not careful and not take care of themselves,
That's
they
right.
can they can physically become ill and suffer the effects of the
That's
stress.
right. So you took your pain and turned it into a game, and you started the Cornelius Support Group for caretakers for FTD. Tell us a little bit about that, where it is, when it is, and how they can get a hold of you.
Okay, so again, the title is changing a little bit, but for descriptive purposes, I just refer to it as the Cornelius chapter of FTD Caregiver Support Group.
Okay.
And we do focus upon the caregivers. We try to provide information in terms of what's available scientifically, medically about diagnosing it, dealing with the local contacts that have proved very good at working with the disease, any neurologists or caregiving agencies that our group members might have encountered and think that they have received good value
Yes.
or care and help. More importantly, in the group, we try to allow opportunities for the individual to ask questions, to vent, to even break down emotionally at times. Again, the stress can be extremely great. And in a welcoming but confidential environment, they get to, again, share their experience, hopefully get some additional information that might help them cope with the problem, as well as maybe becoming aware of some things that have worked for other
That's
caregivers and
right.
other patients.
Now, where are you located?
Okay, we meet currently at Mount Zion United Methodist Church in Cornelius. That's essentially Old Statesville Road.
It's across from the fire department.
That's correct. Just across the railroad tracks. And we currently meet in the educational wing, which is at the back or rear of the sanctuary. And we meet the third Monday of each month.
Okay.
And we start at 10:30 a.m. and go to noon. We can go a little bit past noon, depending upon if there are more people than really can adequately be dealt with in that length of time. We usually have anywhere from 6 to 10 people showing up on any
Okay.
given meeting day. And so if you divide the time and
Yeah.
by the number of participants, you can get an idea that, well, we should at least be able to give everybody a minimum of 10 minutes to share or
Well,
address.
it's good to exchange phone numbers and call each other if they needed some extra support during the month.
Yes, that's available too. Yes.
Now, how do they get a hold of you?
Okay. The two ways, one would be via email, and my email is all lowercase, initials CPB. Well, let me rephrase that. All lowercase, cpbeeman@gmail.com. So that's C as in Charlie, P as in Paul, B as in boy, M as in Mike, N as in November, gmail.com, at gmail.com. You're probably going to have to edit that to make sure that it came across correctly. The other thing is telephone number 704 787 8872. And I use a answering machine to screen my incoming calls such that if I do not recognize the caller ID, oftentimes it's just a telephone number and no name associated with it. I let it go to the answer machine. So please talk to the machine.
Yes, yes.
If I am present and I can hear that you're someone that is really trying to reach me for a valid purpose, I can pick up and talk to you. Otherwise, I can return your call when I come back home.
Well, I so appreciate what you're doing. And I know that people who are going through being a caretaker, I mean, I did it for 4 years and it's not easy. To have a support group would be wonderful. Is there anything in the last few minutes you wanted to add?
Just that, again, I think we in our group, I in particular, as the facilitator of the group meeting, try to focus upon the individual caregiver and
Yes.
truly support them in any and all ways that I either personally can or the group in Moss might be able to help them.
What a benefit for people who are going through such a tough time. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing.
Well, I thank you for this showcase. And again, I hope that people who are interested, who feel a need, or even if they just have questions about the disease and or where they might need to go from that point,
Give us your phone number one more time.
704 787 8872.
And if Curt doesn't answer, leave a message because he doesn't know who you are.
Please do.
Yeah, thank you so much for all you're doing.
Okay. Thank you.